Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of It's Hip to Be. No, it's supposed to be G. Damn it. I got too involved with you, Lewis, in the news, and I said B instead of G. Squared. That was a great intro.
Yeah, you were ready, though. It sounded good.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. It did sound good, though.
You know what? It sounded so good, I'm not going to redo it. We're going to keep this whole thing in. I'm your host, Tom Grossi. That is the ever wonderful Ryan frickin' Grant. And here we are again.
There you go.
Ryan?
Back at it, you know.
I just want to say, there have been three episodes of our podcast. The Green Bay Packers have won 3 games.
Trace. I don't know. Common theme. We speak, they win. That's what it comes down to.
I don't want to be so narcissistic to say that we have an influence over the Green Bay Packers, but I know for a fact
we have an influence over the Green Bay Packers.
100%.
So
like easy.
I'll say it for you. I'll be the narcissistic one for you. No.
Listen, you know all those commercials, the NFL, they have that partnership with like Bose headphones. Listen, you know what they're listening to. You know what they're listening to. They're listening to the podcast that changes its name every week, and they're just like, you know what?
And they're like, man, we don't know what this is, but they're right. And I just little boost of confidence, just a little, whatever it might be, whatever little thing might be a slight in confidence, slight in belief, we take them right over the edge to blowing out performance every time.
And listen, it's just worked. It really, really has worked, because here we are again, coming off a fresh, beautiful, hand-plucked Packers win. And I gotta say, this performance without Devontae Adams, without Kenny Clark, losing Christian Kirksey, and boy, oh boy, is that offensive firing on all cylinders or what? All
cylinders. Honestly, this is one of the most complete Packers teams that I've seen in a while. You know, it's funny. I read something this morning that said that. Remember, I said that they have one of those best lines in the league.
Yeah,
I think they have the best win percentage for passing and for run blocking. Which literally, if you just combine those two, because the only 2 roles of the line are to block for the pass and block for the run, would make you the best line in the league.
Yeah, I think that means you're number 1, Ryan. I'm pretty sure that means that you're number 1.
Yeah. So, I think good things always happen when you have, number 1, the best line in the league and a decent quarterback, as we have.
Yeah.
You know, a decent quarterback in Aaron, the God Rodgers. And then Aaron Jones is just a monster and his versatility. It's what can you complain about? I don't even know if we're gonna find anything to complain about this time. You know what? This episode, I will complain about nothing.
Well, listen, here's things we can talk about. 1, Kingsley Keke replacing Kenny Clark, right?
Yeah.
Having a big old night, had 2 sacks for himself. He was like,
welcome. There you go. Stepping up. Welcome. Hey guys, just want to let you know that I'm more than capable. There you go.
Hey. Yeah, and that's like that. We talked about that, and that was a narrative kind of coming into the season of like who's going to step up on that line, right? You have Dean Lowry, you have Tyler Lancaster. Obviously, you already have Kenny Clark, and you know if Keke can get it going and be consistent, that pass rush is just going to be disgustingly good.
Yeah, I don't see. It's man. I you know when you look at tape and you do like your. You know, I guess it's what's it called?
Analysis?
Yeah, self-analysis, but it's like when you're studying, you self-study basically, and you're critiquing yourself, self-critique, in lack of better terms, and it's hard, man. Like I know there's little things you can work on, but when you're, basically doing a, like if you were to actually like self-scout. So if you were to self-scout your team, and it's like, man, they're good. You can't actually say anything but like, yo, they are. And anybody who wants to say that they're not one of the best, if not the best team in the league, arguably, like you're just literally foolish. And you're not
at this point. You just take that opinion, you roll it up.
I know it's early, and I know it doesn't mean, but like you said, if you put it into the quarters in regard, if you place the season into four quarters, they are, if not the best, one of the best teams in the first quarter of the season.
I think also what's been great is the consistency, right? I mean, you look at the defense, because if there's anything that we can potentially like pluck out and be like, this needs improvement, it's the defense, right? So like they stopping the run, they were okay with it, but Alvin Kamara through the air, they tore him up. They tore him up. 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. And it was interesting too, because like we talked about like Drew Brees and his arm strength, and it looked like it was, obviously no Michael Thomas, but a lot of like dump offs, short passes, intermediate routes, and that was about it. And, is that because of Drew Brees? Is that because our secondary played so well? I know Emmanuel Sanders had that one big play. But I mean, right now, though, where we're sitting, considering we have all those injuries, Ty Summers coming in and playing the way that he did. I mean, right now, we talked about it right before the show went live. Like, if this team can stay healthy, I'm about it.
No, listen. When you spoke about Drew's, basically the game plan that they gave Drew, I think it's a combination of both. I think they were trying to figure out and let Drew kind of settle in, and then in the same breath, the secondary plays strong. Like all these things they're doing are just building confidence. And I think when you have a young squad in the capacity that we do, they're like young veterans who are getting opportunities to continue to build on performances and put themselves in a position to just build on their confidence, which of course will just build their performance again. So like reinforcing, allowing them to just continue to build on everything. I expect it'll be interesting, as I said it before we started recording, that they can stay healthy. That third quarter of the season, I expect this team to be like phenomenal. And yes, it's 1 week at a time, but I just think that LaFleur is gonna be able to really open some things up, and teams aren't gonna know what to do, because the hardest thing right now is just gonna continue to how to get guys the ball and just really offensively just maximize all the weapons that you have. I loved, I talked about that. I did think play action was going to be a big thing in this game. I loved that I saw all the play action working with the misdirection, play action, dump downs, little pass, tight end passes, screens, play action, deep balls. Listen, he's got a plethora of options, and I'm excited for LaFleur.
I mean, and you look at two of the biggest performers on the offense. You got Allen Lazard having nearly 150 yards and a touchdown. Incredible game for him. Really kind of took over the role for Davante Adams. And again, we looked at Lazard last year, and, he kind of emerged as that number 2 guy. Filled that vacuum, right? Because there was a vacuum for a number 2 guy. MVS had looked pretty good for the past 2 weeks, and I thought maybe this is going to be what we got. But Lazard was just like, nope. I got this, guys. Don't you worry about it. He had a fantastic night.
Him stepping up, I think it's actually going to be great for MVS.
Ooh, I like that.
Because I think so many people were looking for MVS and are still looking for him to show those highlights that he did have, that he's had in the past, and kind of, get through whatever funk he went through. But now, since he's had a solid couple weeks, I'm looking for him to like have another. I think like everybody's gonna have their breakout on this offense. Like there'll be days where everybody can have that. Devontae's on a whole nother, and he's definitely one of the top tier receivers. But everybody being a weapon just allows some of the other weapons to just not be focused on. That's just, I don't really know how when you self-scout, I don't really know. When teams are scouting them, it's like, well, how do you contain? Because they're working very efficiently. Their drives are efficiently. From big plays to drop downs, they know how to. It's not just, some teams, you look at teams and you can say, hey man, they're just a big play team. Yeah. So if you can get them out of that, it doesn't seem that. They know how to. They've been doing well with making big plays, but knowing how to, get some tough. I watched some plays from Aaron Jones getting some tough yardage in the passing game. Quick passes from Lazard and MVS to get first downs, to move the chain. That's what you want. Yep. I know a lot of teams, honestly, you want to get as many first downs as you can. Like you want to be first play, but in the league, the more first downs you get, statistically, the better you're going to be off the score. So that's what the idea for a lot of teams are in getting as many first downs as you can.
And I think, you touched on this, the idea like the diversity and variety they have in the amount of weapons that they have is like so insane, right? Like they have 3 running backs. AJ Dillon obviously still developing, whatever. But I
Yeah,
think we've talked about this by the end of the season, he's going to be a full-fledged stud, especially in those cold Lambeau nights.
yeah, you already know.
You have 3 running backs. You got wide receivers everywhere. You have tight ends who can play, right? So whether Jay Sternberger, who had a pretty good night, much better than he
Yeah,
had been, Sternberger, Tanyan, Mercedes Lewis, the big dog going up and getting a
I appreciate
touchdown.
Mercedes getting one in.
My
Good for
man.
him, man. That's I used to train with him, so it's dope to see him still rocking and getting it done, and
Oh, yeah.
and getting a chance to play with Aaron and just enjoy. He seems like he's enjoying it, and I know he's got that. I see during the injury report during the week he gets those vet rest days, which is I know he's appreciating that. So it's dope to see him. Props and shout out to him to keep rocking, man.
Yeah, I think like there's just this, and again, it's just we said this last week, it's just week 2. Now like week 3 is in the books and it's just week 4. And this team, not jumping any conclusions, but again, we're going to the Super Bowl. Right now, besides I would say maybe like the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Like so the Chiefs looked phenomenal last night against the Raiders. Like they tore that team apart.
Yeah.
They looked really, really good. You look at like a team like the Seahawks. Russell Wilson is having an MVP-like season. The guy is incredible right now. But they have questions on their defense. The Packers right now, to me, yes, there's obviously room for improvement, what have you. But I mean, they are just looking like a consistently good football team. And I put them up against like any team right now. And I'm like, yeah, they got a shot. 100%.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those things. I that's what I said. I think that anybody who wants to disprove or stand their ground around the Packers not being one of the top teams, if I said top 3 teams, honestly, that's I wouldn't even go anything lower than that. Top 3 teams in the league. It's foolish based upon the performances that you're only going off what they put out on paper. What they put out film wise. So they're getting it done at a high level. It's not like they're just squeaking out wins. There's another team. There's another team not too far from Green Bay that's supposedly 3-0, I think, maybe.
Honestly, the numbers get a little blurry.
But they're not. But by no means, there's no conversation around, because what we say, there's twofold, and both are important.
Yes.
Putting together W's, most important thing, because it always helps. It always helps to go back to work on Monday when you get that win. You want to get that win. And I'm going to say this every week, but also putting together performances, good performances. And it's not always done, as we can see, because there are some teams who have 3-0s who aren't necessarily putting together the best performances, but they're getting W's, so I don't want to hate.
Yeah, I'll hate for
Packers,
you.
and that's fine. Like I said, we'll bounce each other. Our hate bounces off of each other. We sometimes you hate, sometimes I hate. I do like Seattle's cool. Russell's always going to give you a chance, and I think they're playing with confidence, so it'll see their confidence build. And that Chiefs team is solid, so you can't knock them.
Yeah. And you look at the Bears, who obviously they are now dedicated to Nick Foles as their starting QB.
Which in my mind, that should have been the case, but I understand.
You give Mitch every opportunity, and then you say, we tried so hard, guys. We really believed in him, as they're like patting him on the back to go sit on the bench. And listen, I like Mitch Trubisky. I think that, I really
you like him as a person?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
I want him to leave the Bears and go be successful somewhere else.
Yeah,
just
cool.
In spite of the Bears, just to be like, hey, remember when you could have had Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson, and now Trubisky's gonna go.
Bears can't catch a break no matter what.
Yeah, let's just do it. Just really rub the salt in the wound.
Mitch's ability or lack thereof, whatever it may be, is because the Bears drafted him.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. It's like, no, he would have been a phenomenal quarterback had he been on any other team.
Yeah. No, sometimes
I'm just saying that's a theory. I don't know. I'm not saying that's my theory.
Not. Of course not. Mitch, it's okay. This is a safe space. If you want to come on here, you let me know, and we'll rib you a little bit. But
you know what's funny? Nick Foles is the man. So what does this guy have to do to prove that he's that guy?
Here's the thing about Nick Foles. So listen, the guy in the postseason is incredible, right? Guy took the Eagles to the promised land, win him a Lombardi. Great. Wonderful. At the same time, there's a but coming in here.
Okay.
Out of his career, he's never played a full season. Not
Yeah.
once.
Cool.
Right?
Make him the six-man quarterback. Make him the six-man quarterback.
And on top of that, he also got paid a boatload of money from Jacksonville, got hurt, got beaten out by Gardner Minshew, and then got traded to the Bears. All I'm saying is while he could make the Bears better, I'm not saying that he's going to.
I think he does. I think he does, and I think that he's gonna basically, let's just say that's the role he's in right now, where he's not the guy, but he's the guy when you need a guy to become the guy.
Okay.
So I'm thinking they're not going to beat the Packers, so it doesn't matter. But this is for all the other games that they have.
Yeah.
I think he comes in. I said, almost like make him the six-man. Make him like the guy that you don't have to start him. What? No, we don't have to start Nick.
No, it's fine.
But he's going to play 95% of the like 95% of the snaps Nick's going to take. And I think that because he's done it at what, you can't do it at any higher level than winning the Super Bowl. Sure, but because he's done it, he's going to, number one, guys will have confidence in him to be able to get it done. It's like, it's just like one of those things that like, yeah, he's the guy, but he's not the guy from Jump Street. He's the guy when you need a guy. Oh, I got a guy. That's Nick
good. Foles.
That's his fault. Oh, I got a guy.
That's I love it. Yeah. Okay. I'm down with that analysis. I'm down with
that. Let me, preface this with they're not beating the Packers. Let's not get crazy talk over it.
Yeah, we're not gonna jump off. Yeah, absolutely.
But I think he does put them in a good, and at the end of the day, they're 3-0, so you can't really put them in a better position. But I think they put together better performances.
Let me put it this way. I think what you do is you start Mitch Trubisky for the first quarter of every single game. And then
just the
first quarter. I mean, how much damage could he possibly do? Right?
That's fine if you're playing the Falcons.
Okay. Well, you know what? Honestly, I'm going to feel the most comfortable if we're down 15 next Monday night, because then I know we're going to win.
No, it's like, then it's like, oh yes. Okay, perfect.
Oh, I'll turn the TV off and be like, oh, okay, I can go to bed. We got this. We're good. We're good. Yeah. I mean, Nick, just see how much, and then you bring in Nick Foles, and he's like, okay, he's going to be the cleanup crew. I was like, now
what actually going on with them down there with these? They can't.
It's bad.
I don't want to say they can't keep a lead. It's like, man,
week 2, they blow a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter against the Cowboys.
But it's not even just like they're blowing leads throughout the game. It's like, no, in the fourth quarter.
It's the fourth quarter.
Blowing mega lead.
The only team to do it, blow a 15-plus point lead in the fourth quarter twice in a season ever, and they've done it back-to-back weeks. That's a problem. Like that is not a stat you ever want to see like pop up if you're like, running through and be like, all right, guys.
That's a losing job problem.
I mean,
that's a job loss. Like
how many times are we going to say that about Dan Quinn before like he gets fired? Like I feel like, you had 28-3, which was the bane of all Falcons fans' existence, blowing the Super Bowl. And now you have this where I said from the beginning of this season, the Falcons could be one of those dark horse teams, right? Like they had.
Yeah, I thought they had an opportunity as well. I felt like, Matt was going to be one of those years for him to come out of whatever little funky, inconsistent slump he's been in. Because he's got weapons. Like he's got
plenty of weapons.
From what I've seen from Gurley, I like what they're doing with him. He's been able to do some good things. Man, but yeah,
is bad. Now talking about the Falcons too, like they're one of those teams though that like you and I both agree they have the pieces, right? So they have like Gurley in the runner. They have I don't know, who knows if Julio Jones is going to play next week, but they have Julio. They have the receiving threats. Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. The only thing that I'm like looking at and I'm like, okay, I don't want to underestimate them, but their defense is like dead last in just about everything. Now it is, any given Sunday, or in this case,
they're the lowest scoring defense. Like they give up the most points, right?
Yeah. Like they're I'm pretty sure they're 32nd in just about everything.
Yeah. And we give the most points, meaning we score the most points. Yeah.
We're number one. But like, I mean, how do you, I'm curious of your take on this, right? So like you look at the 2011 season, right?
Mm-hmm.
In which you guys are rocking and rolling,
Yep.
over just about everybody. You encounter the Chiefs, who that year was not a great football team. I know they didn't have a great record.
Yeah.
But like, what would you like in your perspective? Are there such things as quote unquote like trap games? Like, does that actually exist?
Yeah, I think it definitely exists. I don't see this as a trap game because it's too early in the season.
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be, but I think it's too early in the season for this squad that they have. They're too young. Guys still want to prove themselves.
Ooh.
A lot of guys on that defense still want to prove themselves statistically. Like I said, they're winning, but they just want to add on performances. And I know that some of the other wide receivers want to perform. I don't know if Dante's going to be back. Let's just say he's not back. Some of those still younger receivers are going to want to step up and get their individual performances. I think, it's one of those things that there's still so much to prove.
Mm.
That trap game, that game against Kansas City, it just felt a little weird. And then everything that possibly could go wrong during that game went wrong. Like, it was like, it just seemed like it was just a weird game. And it didn't feel like a trap game, but I think that the nature of the season, guys are exhausted. Like, it just takes a lot, it's just a lot. So it happens. Sure. With this, I don't think guys are exhausted. I think the energy is still sky high. They're rocking. I know they want to finish out this first quarter 4-0 because that puts a stamp on, number one, you're 3-0. If they get this, they're 3-0 in the.
They'll be 4-0 within the NFC.
4-0 in the NFC. 4-0. Yeah, I'm trying to go through who they beat. So that's mega.
Oh yeah.
Like mega.
Oh yeah.
The 2-0 in division. You know what I mean? Like what you can literally. It's like this is almost. And I said I got to look at the schedule, but almost. I get every quarter is important, but this is not only is starting fast the most important, but it's also like it just happened to be that they're scheduled being 4-0 in the NFC in the first 4 games of the season. It's like crazy. So I don't see this as a trap game. Who knows? Well, but no, I don't. I think it's a very different mentality going in because of what's at stake, what's been performed. For the amount of weeks it's been performed, it's still very early. And I think that the motivation is, even if the motivation is, hey, let's blow them out. Like really, like we've been rocking with the highest scoring out, but let's see if we can turn it up a notch.
Sure.
I think that's part of it. It's like, let's build on performance. Let's stack our successes to end this fourth quarter right.
And I think too, like, you have the early bye week, which is also coming up, which honestly, like right now I usually complain about it. It's coming at a good time, right? Like Devontae, Kenny, Kirksey can heal up a little bit. That will be a big plus. And, it has to be a great feeling if we beat the Falcons, like going into that undefeated, going into the bye, like, yeah, all about it. Like you're rocking on every cylinder.
Yeah. You want to said it's a great way to be able to have time to, okay, now let's clean up whatever little things we need to clean up. It's perfect. I think I see it as one of those. Right now, our schedule is.
I'm literally pulling it up right now.
Our schedule is right where we wanted to be, right what we wanted to be, and we're performing to make it perfect.
Yeah.
This, if these first couple of games would have went a little differently, we would have been saying this bye week is terrible.
Oh yes.
In a heartbeat, but bye weeks in this situation, because it's early and because we've been putting together such solid performances, and there's been a couple injuries and guys we want to get back on the field to just help, it's perfect.
I mean, again, we're not going to boast. Maybe we'll do this
during. What are we not boasting? What's the not boast? Because we already said, yes, they're going to Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, that's obvious. But, like, I'm looking at this schedule ahead of me, right? And, again, any given Sunday, I get it. I look at coming off the bye week, going into Tampa with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. That defense has been doing really, really well.
That's Brady, off the bye week. That's off the bye week.
Yep, off of bye week.
That's a good one. I like that. That's a nice
Sunday night game, but.
Oh, yeah. And they should. I think they can't flex games anymore like that early.
I think it has to be after like week 5. So technically, I think they might because that's week 6. Yeah, it's week 6 technically, but I think you look at this. I mean, you have the Buccaneers, you have the Texans who have not been playing well. Maybe they're going to get
Yeah.
Earl Thomas. I saw rumblings of that. Then you have the Vikings again, the 49ers on a short week. And right now, I mean, if there's a season to play the 49ers,
This
it's
is
this
it.
one. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to get guys like Jimmy G back and Mostert back. I think they'll still be very, very competitive. And
It's
listen,
still going to be interesting though. They're both knee injuries, right? I
I
think.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always tricky stuff when it comes to just longevity performance. So no, this is Packers are all the Packers have to do is handle their business. Everything else seems to be lining up for them in regards to the other teams not handling their business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm curious for you, if you are on the Atlanta Falcons right now, I mean, like, what do you even do? Like, I mean, like, what do you say to like make that team be like, okay, we're 0-3, that is what it is. But the last 2 games to be so far ahead and literally just blow it in the fourth. Is this like, hey, we need to kind of like come out on Monday night and make a statement because everybody's like counting us out, underdog? I'm sure they're gonna be massive underdogs for next Monday.
yeah, of course.
Like,
Uh,
how do you prep for that? Or is it kind of almost like a relief in which you're saying like, hey, listen, everyone is counting us out. Like, let's go try and do something.
well, yeah, I think you number one, the first conversation that hopefully coach might have is that it's on us.
Mm-hmm.
Like this has nothing to do with because it's not like they've been performing terribly for 3 quarters.
Sure.
It's not like throughout every performance. So I think that the first thing is gonna say, listen, this is us. So we need to get back to paying attention to detail because clearly in the fourth quarter they haven't been detailed in their work and their body of work has showed. So that's the first thing. It's like, all right, let's clean up our details and the accountability when it comes to professionals. That's gonna be something they're gonna harp on.
Yeah.
Because that's how jobs are lost. So, and I said, when you have back-to-back performances like that, fourth quarter, that's people, it's hard to go on Monday with a loss regardless. But when you lose like that, especially 2 weeks in a row, it's people are checking their lockers. People are checking their lockers and coaches are checking their lockers. It's not just them. So,
oh, my seat's getting really, really warm underneath me.
Yeah. So and that's a fact of the matter. So I think that in-house you talk about let's, crossing our T's, dotting our I's, making sure that detail-wise we are handling the little things because it slips up. The performances in the NFL, everybody's good.
Sure.
And it's what it takes, like you said, you could be kicking a team's butt. In that fourth quarter, that team looks like a Super Bowl contender, how they perform and outperform you in the fourth quarter. So, no, I think that they're going to just try to make sure that they play their game because they do have some film on tape. They got some production on tape that is solid. So you can't take, it's like at the end of the day, the Packers, based upon the Atlanta's track record, the Packers, this could be a really tough game for 3 quarters.
It could be. Yeah.
So you don't actually know. So no, I think the Packers, both ends are just going to have to treat this as any other type of game because the way that it hasn't performed for Atlanta is not because they can't perform. It's just like they've just dropped the ball.
They're not putting together a full game.
Yeah, they can't put it together. And honestly, teams that can't put it together at the end but show are teams usually that are a little bit away.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yo, that's a good team. They just can't win.
Yeah. I mean, like, and I feel like with the Falcons in particular, like we've said that for like a while. Obviously they go to the Super Bowl a few years back. And I think it's just like they're constantly like in the conversation. It's just there's something that's just not.
Yeah, there's just been a couple of things. Yeah, absolutely. Green Bay, that's Green Bay. It's I think the reasoning might have changed every year, but it's almost like, oh, there's just something.
Yeah.
Close. Oh, close. Oh, close. Like, man, and that's what it's been. Even when you look at somebody's in the top 5 teams in the league, I was like, oh, wow, I think I saw like Tennessee in there. And I'm trying to think another team, and I'm like, wow, it's just a different squad. But the 2 consistent teams I have seen are Seattle, and you're not used to Kansas City in the last couple of years, but Seattle and Green Bay for what the last 10 years have been literally consistently up there as some of the best teams. So I think that's an attest to both organizations who, once again, Schneider came from Green Bay. Okay. But just in general, I think the Packers are every team, has been like close, and right now they're as close.
Yeah.
They're even closer, and they looking great.
I'm gonna one final thing, and then we'll celebrate. I feel like with Matt LaFleur, you had Sean McVay, a couple years ago. Everyone was like shouting his praises to the moon.
Yeah.
Andy Reid, like he's constantly in the conversation. I feel like there's very little conversation outside of Green Bay about Matt LaFleur as a coach coming
Yeah.
in and
That's
losing a
weird.
total of 4 games in like a season and 3 games, like going to the NFC Championship, like
Yeah, undefeated in division. Like, what
yeah,
are we talking about here? This
like
is
like he is one
especially
of the
with
best coaches.
especially with the heat
Oh
that
yeah.
the Packers took for
Oh
him
yes.
being the choice. It's I watched Colin, a little clip of Colin back then when he was going off about, I spoke to 2 sources, and those 2 sources, what they said, blah blah blah,
Yep.
and it'd say not knowing whether or not he could lead a team.
Yep.
This guy is been lights out on all aspects for this
Yep.
team in regards to how he's handled the conversation on the field, off the field, social justice wise, regarding COVID
Yep.
response. He's literally been the epitome of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you want? Like literally this guy is not, it'd be one thing if it was like, yeah, the performance on the field, he's good, but the community respects him and know he's handling this, but the guys really, no, what?
Yeah.
Everything.
And everyone bought in. Like you saw that even last year, like everybody bought into it immediately.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I love that. And Rodgers has now come out and said like multiple weeks that he just loves like the flow, the play calling is on.
Yeah, so I saw something that I saw Aaron talk about. It was a joke. It was basically like, when's the last time you saw Aaron voice all the play calling?
Yeah.
How he liked it. And it's just great. It is really great to feel like and to see that it seems like they have a healthy, functioning relationship, like work with it. And they're enjoying it. Like both sides are looking forward to working with each other and performing, and they're getting it done because it's like the input is very much correlating with the output. It's not like they're just putting out the output is just great and they're like all miserable, like, oh no, we gotta do this. No, you're seeing that everybody on all facets is enjoying the work that they're doing, and then how it's actualizing itself.
You know what? It's fine. After we win the Lombardi this year, they'll finally put some respect on LaFleur's name. Yeah. And
let's go. I think he wins Coach of the Year.
I think there's a good shot. Super early.
I'm trying to think of who else. It's not too early. We're gonna win Super Bowl. So based upon that knowledge, he wins Coach of the Year. I think that I'm trying to think of like some of the other solid teams from a coaching aspect who would be in the conversation. Of course, Andy Reid, if they keep winning the way they are. I don't know. With what he's been able to do.
Yeah.
And it's, people talk smack, oh, he's offensive core, blah, blah, blah. Number 1 offense in the league right now. Blah, 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 blah. What he's able to do with some of these young guys. It's like, no, you can't discredit it's not like saying, well, you had Aaron Rodgers, you talked all that smack about Aaron last year. Yep. So who knows whether the conversation between Matt and them working together has helped Aaron. Yeah. Aaron to me is always Aaron. But I'm like, you can't take away, you have to give so much to Matt when you literally tried to destroy it, even in the fact that they were 13-3. Yeah. Everybody's they're the worst 13-3.
And coming into this season, they have no wide receivers. The offense is going to function well. Yeah. I think we're functioning okay, Ryan. I think
okay. Yeah, we're doing just fine. I think we'll be okay.
Just fine. But we'll see what happens next week. I'm looking forward. We'll break down the Monday night game on Tuesday, and hopefully we'll be heading into the bye week undefeated still. So
there you go. 4-0. 4-0 sounds, it's a nice ring to that first quarter ending.
I like it. Ryan, tell the people where they can find you.
At Ryan.Grant on IG, on Twitter, Ryan Grant 25, all the way live. Just Ryan Grant 25, but I am all the way live.
It's true. It is very, very true.
And listen, guys, and lads, and ladies, and unicorns, and everything else.
Like unicorns.
Please pick up the performance when it comes to picking our name. What are we doing out here?
Honestly,
we went through the names, and I'm gonna be honest with you, we were disappointed.
Wasn't great.
It's poor performance, especially considering how well our Packers are playing. As you see all the alliteration, all those P's. That was not poor. What you guys are doing in regards to naming our show is just, some of them have been tacky. Like you can't give us names that they've already been said. Like, let's have a little creativity. I said, you know what? And I dropped the ball too, because I'm gonna I promise you, after the bye week, I'm gonna have some incentives.
I was about to say some incentives.
That's what people need. They need escalators and they need incentives in their contract. Listen, I get it. I understand that. So we're gonna have some performance-based incentives. If you pick some good names, you get some good gifts, you get some good prizes. I'm gonna work that out.
That's it. And listen, the better. I'm just gonna put this out there. I'm gonna put this out there into the universe. You know, I've been talking with some people about potentially coming on the show. They want to come on a show that has a good name. You know,
exactly. They're like, well, what's the name? I'm like, well, exactly. Everybody's holding back. What's the name? Well, you can't. The moment I say well, they're like,
I don't know. I don't know if I want to spend my time with well. I don't want to put all that time and energy into well. So I'm just saying. Step it up.
But we went with G squared.
Yeah, it's okay.
It works.
It's okay. It's hip to be. It's hip to be G squared.
Yeah, it is.
That's okay. It's all right. It's okay.
It's cool, but listen. Even to the winner, we're just letting you know it's okay.
It's okay.
You won more based upon the lack of performance than everybody else.
You were the Chicago Bears this week.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. You put the W together. Good for you. Be happy. Going to work the next day, feeling good. But go back and self-scout and look at that tape and say, you know what? I didn't put together a good product.
These guys could be going through the comments. They're like, God dear, how can I get better? They're like screaming at themselves, pacing from like across the room. They're just like, come on, man, come on.
Yeah, the trivial importance around this.
Yes, it is of monumental importance, actually. So
there you go.
I mean, I'm Tom Grossi. You can always find me, where Tom Grossi's are and wherever they are. So
wherever they are.
That's how I do my plugs. But Mr. Ryan Grant, another wonderful day, another wonderful week, another Packers win, and another great episode of this beautiful podcast in which we are literally holding the fate of the Green Bay Packers in our hands like a delicate baby bird.
Yeah, absolutely. And to all those Saint fans that happen to watch this, who dat? Packard. That's it.